Welcome to this circle. This is a safe place to be. Whether you're here in this room or you're joining us online, whether you have found your place within the community that gathers as SSUC Edmonton or SSUC Saskatoon, whether you're joining us online from the place where you call home, or you are joining us from wherever you happen to be celebrating this Thanksgiving weekend, we welcome you, and we welcome you whether you have never been here before, or you haven't been here in a long time, or you are one of those who hold the rim of this circle for those who come and go. We celebrate, as we gather, the gift of diversity of who we are together in this place, the diversity of color and of culture, of language and ethnicity, of sexual orientations and gender identities, of ages and stages in life. And it is with gratitude that we gather on this generous land, this good and gracious land, this storied and ancestral land of Cree peoples of Treaty 6 and Métis nations, peoples who have made their home in this place for generations. And we gather honoring the culture and traditions, the spiritualities of our Indigenous brothers and sisters, those whose story is long woven into this land. We gather grateful as we remember how this land has opened to feed our ancestors and to welcome Canada's newcomers. And as we gather, we are mindful of our responsibility, all of us, to be partners in this land, all of us, partners in an agreement we call Treaty 6, partners transcending the wounds of our history and seeking healing and reconciliation. We also gather in the light of a new day, a day that none of us has ever seen before. We gather in the long story of light. And we light this candle with deep gratitude on this Thanksgiving Day for the light of all who've gone before us, the light of those with whom we share this life, family, friends, communities of faith, and the light of wisdom that we hold and we share, we give and we receive. And for all of this, we sing our gratitude.
Who is ready for a time for all ages? I want to invite anyone to the carpet who would like to come and talk and tell a story. Come on up. Carpet time. We'll make room. There's lots of room. There's carpet here. There's carpet here. Okay. So, it's Thanksgiving weekend, and I want to talk to you about Thanksgiving. I want to talk to you about giving thanks. I want to talk to you about all the things that we might be thankful for. And not just kids have answers to this question. Grown-ups have answers to this question too. So, at a time when we have a weekend and sometimes special dinners and sometimes family gatherings, to think about the things we really love about life, the things we're just really grateful for, I wanted to ask you if you had a few of those, and then we're going to tell a story about all of them. So, who has something that they're really, really grateful for? Do you have something back there? For your birthday. Mm-hmm. I'm a slow writer. Sorry about that. Okay, you have one.
I'm thankful for this church and my family.
That is great. You are thankful for this church and your family. Yes, my dear.
I am thankful for the earth and my family.
For the earth and your family. Yes.
Nature.
You are thankful for nature. Yes. You are thankful for everything.
I'm thankful for
This is really great. I think I have space for two more. Silas, did you have one? For everybody in nature. Okay, is there one more? Rhea? Go ahead. Sorry. You're thankful for nature. I'm writing that down. Okay. Now, are you ready for a story? Okay. You gave us some great answers here. I need to talk to the others in the room for a minute. Have you ever wanted to read the Time for All Ages story? Now's your chance. I need at least, 15 volunteers to come up here and help us be thankful. We're going to line up right down here. And there's no preparation involved. I'll just pass you something that you're going to read, okay? And it's going to be great. We're going to all tell this story together. Form a line, please. Here's our story readers. Okay, I have to get them right in the order. Okay, I got it. Oh, good. You should get in line. Okay. This is a story by Todd Parr. He's written lots of books. Maybe you recognize the way those books look, because a lot of his books look like that. But this is called The Thankful Book. And so thank you, Todd Parr. We're thankful for him, but also thank you because we're going to add to his book a little bit, all right? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read the first page, then it's all everyone. Okay, so here we go. Testing. Does this one go? Okay, great. So here we go. Ooh, that's hard to read. Every day I try to think about the things I am thankful for.
What are some? Oh,
I'm thankful for.
just right there.
Yeah.
I am thankful for my birthday.
That one didn't, we'll back up a minute because that one didn't, yeah, next slide. Here we go. Oh, this is perfect for you.
I'm thankful for my hair because it makes me unique. How is that funny?
I don't know.
Unique.
I'm right there with you, Rod.
I'm thankful for my ears because they let me hear the words, I love you.
I'm thankful for my garden because I like to watch things grow.
I'm thankful for my shadow because it makes me look taller.
That's good. That's good. That's a good one.
I'm thankful for bubble baths because they keep me squeaky clean.
Oh, nice.
I'm thankful for underwear because I like to wear it on my head.
Oh, yes.
I'm thankful for my friends because they make me smile.
Oh, nice.
I'm thankful for my pets because they keep me warm.
I'm thankful for vacations because I get to see people and places.
I'm thankful for walks because they're special times for just you and me.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for my hands because they help me give special gifts.
I am thankful for music because it makes me want to dance.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm thankful for colors because they make me want to paint.
Oh, yes. Nice. We're back to the beginning. Look at this. Oh, I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
I am thankful for school because I love to learn new things.
I did not plan who was going to get to say these.
I don't believe you. I'm thankful for the library because it's filled with endless adventures.
I'm thankful for healthy food because it keeps me strong.
I'm thankful for the fall because I like to jump in the leaves.
Oh.
I'm thankful for the winter because I like to build snowmen.
Great.
I'm thankful for hugs because they make me feel good.
Oh, nice.
I'm thankful for kisses because they make me feel loved.
Just don't look at the picture.
I'm thankful for holidays because they bring my family and friends together.
I'm thankful for this church and my family.
Nice. Oh, that says the earth and my family.
I am thankful for the earth and my family.
I'm thankful for nature. That one's perfect for me.
Oh, good.
I'm thankful for everything and everybody.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, we can split this into two, okay? You could do the first sentence.
There are lots of things to be thankful for.
Try to remember some of them every day, the end.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, everybody. We all told that story together. You helped write it. They helped tell it. Oh, it was beautiful. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving and that we take Mr. Todd Parr's advice and that we try to remember some of those thankfuls every day.
We're reading from the work of Marge Piercy today, from her book called The Art of Blessing the Day, a book in which she takes many of the traditions from her Jewish tradition and contemporizes them in ways that bless and honor the most ordinary things in our lives. From her first poem in the collection, The Art of Blessing the Day, just this brief excerpt. But the discipline of blessings is to taste each moment, the bitter, the sour, the sweet and the salty, and be glad for what does not hurt. The art is in compressing attention to each little and big blossom of the tree of life, to let the tongue sing each fruit, its savor, its aroma, and its use. Attention is love, what we must give children, mothers, fathers, pets, our friends, the news, and the woes of others. What we want to change, we curse, and then pick up a tool. Bless whatever you can with eyes and hands and tongues. And if you can't bless it, get ready to make it new. In the thoughts of this poet.
Every
in the collection of writings that we know as the Hebrew Christian scriptures. We have 4 different accounts written in the first century that tell stories about Jesus of Nazareth. Some of them tell stories that are told in the voice of Jesus of Nazareth, often stories we know as parables. And we also have parables about Jesus. And perhaps this is one of those. From the collection of writings in Luke's Gospel, a writer who was concerned with all of those on the margins of society, with women and children, with those who were other, with Samaritans, with outsiders, comes this story from Luke's Gospel in chapter 17. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through a region between Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered a village, 10 who suffered from leprosy approached him. Keeping their distance, they cried out to him, saying, "Jesus, teacher, have compassion on us." And when he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they noticed that they were well. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, he turned back and he laid himself at the feet of Jesus and he offered his thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made well? But what of the other 9? Where are they? Was none of them found to return and be grateful? No one except this foreigner?" Then Jesus said to him, "Go along your way. Your faith has made you well." In this ancient story,
Think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.
You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
Or asked the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth.
Storm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends, and we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends.
Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or let the eagle tell you where he's been? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
How high does a sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know.
And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, for whether we are white or copper skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountain. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind.
You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until
you can paint with all the colors of the wind. Let's do it again.
What if only 5 out of the 10 had come back to express their gratitude? Or maybe even 9 out of 10? Would the story still be focused on the missing ones? I don't know about you, but I recognize myself in this story. We love to beat up on those 9 who didn't come back. We like to line them up as this little cast of thankless so-and-sos who didn't have a grateful bone in their bodies. But the 9 never get any credit for doing exactly what was asked of them. Weren't they just on their way to the priest just as Jesus had told them to do? Why is it we never celebrate them for following instructions? They were just doing what they were supposed to do. They were heading for their priests who had the authority to end their segregation as lepers and to free them to go home to their families. Weren't they just like every prisoner who would walk past the iron bars, or every hostage who'd just been liberated? Who in their right mind is going to turn back and jeopardize such freedom? But there's usually one in every crowd. Someone who doesn't need to conform, someone whose inner voice speaks louder than all the conventional voices. There's someone always who has to ignore the instructions. Come on, I'm not the only one. There's someone always who has to try to put it together without reading the instructions. There's someone always who has to ignore the instructions and follow their instincts. Someone who'd rather risk jinxing his good fortune to say thank you than to hurry off with all the others to see any priest. And maybe he had really good reasons to give the priest a miss. Maybe he had really good reason to find authority in his own experience rather than in the word of a powerful institution that had marginalized him in so many ways. Maybe he didn't need any priest to interpret his experience for him or to tell him he could go home now. Maybe he didn't need any priest to tell him what he knew for himself, that he could trust his own wisdom, that he knew first and foremost that he had to be faithful to his own gratitude. So he turns back to go back to the place where he got his life back, where he wasn't treated the way Samaritans were usually treated by the dominant and mainline Jewish culture of its day, where he wasn't shunned as a heretic or excluded as a leper. He went back to that Jewish stranger who had violated the rules himself just by talking to him in the first place. He went back to that place where he was treated without distinction or being an exception, where he was treated with dignity and equality. And he went back because he had to go back to express his gratitude. And maybe he was just doing what came most naturally to him. Maybe he wasn't doing anything that was particularly exceptional from the way he had been living his life always, from the way he navigated life. Maybe he received his newfound health just the same way that he had lived with his disease, with gratitude for a new day, with gratitude for the miracle of the measure of health that was his, with gratitude for the miracle of breath, grateful that he had won the greatest lottery of all just by having been born. His expression of thanks comes so naturally. Maybe it was just the way he lived his life. Maybe expressing appreciation was a well-exercised muscle in his life. Maybe gratitude was a habit he practiced over and over in his life. The story takes pains to tell us he was a Samaritan. He was a leper and a Samaritan. He was a margin within an already marginalized community. He was a Samaritan, just like that one who had been on the road from Jerusalem to Jericho in another story. He was a visible minority who stands out just like the hero of that story stood out when he stopped to help, and others who represented the privileged and dominant culture passed by. The Samaritan in this story too stands out because he's the one who does what is expected of all the others, and he becomes the teacher in the story, the one to follow, the one to emulate. And when the story finally has Jesus focus on the one who's there, instead of the ones who are missing, when the story has him see what's left rather than what's lost, when he gives his attention to the one who's with him instead of the ones who are not, the story shifts. And what he affirms in the Samaritan is his faith, not his right beliefs or his right practices, not where he worships or how he does, not his religious affiliation, not even his faith in any God, just faith. Faith in life. Being faithful to his experience. Just having a faith that honors life with gratitude. Saying thank you is part of that body of polite manners we seek to teach our children. But really, gratitude is about so much more than good etiquette. It's not really about having good manners. Gratitude is about a way of living, a way of seeing life, a way of seeing the world, and it's a spiritual practice that takes practice. Our faith tradition has taught us to count our blessings, as if our lives could be measured by some kind of accounting, some kind of early version of Excel, adding up all the pluses and all the minuses and comparing the assets and liabilities and weighing the good and the bad and the ugly, the luck and the misfortune, while we miss the point entirely. That the gift of life has already tipped the scales for us so much in our favor that if we had only been born, nothing else, it would be gift enough for thanks. Reason enough to be grateful. During my mom's long journey with dementia, I learned a lot about gratitude. I learned that either I could become immersed in a lament about what was missing, about the 9 who were missing, or I could focus on what was left. I could lament each loss to the person that I had known, or I could give my attention to what was left. I could honor the value of touch and the intimacy of combing another's hair or feeding another, the gift of just being present, being breath to another breath. And really, isn't that the challenge that comes to all of us every day? What gets our attention? Is our attention captured by what's missing or by what's left? Is our attention captured by what we have or what we wish we had? Is our attention captured by what we have or what we once had and no longer have? I wonder if the story has Jesus lament the missing, because the story knows so well the tragedy of missing the miracle that is at hand, missing what's right under our noses, of neglecting what the poet called the discipline of blessing, of tasting each moment, the bitter, the sour, the sweet, and the salty, and being glad for what does not hurt. To practice the art of compressing attention to each little and big blossom on the tree of life. The story knows the Samaritan is the one to watch. The one we're inclined to overlook, that's the one to watch. The ones we often fail to see, the ones who are invisible to us, those are the ones to watch. And it doesn't matter why the 9 went on their way. Maybe they were just translating their Thanksgiving into Thanksliving. Maybe they were so grateful they just needed to get on and do what they were told to do. But what matters is where we place our attention. From the margins of that story, a student becomes an unlikely teacher. A minority voice, someone who was usually invisible, someone who generally didn't count, someone who was willing to part company with the crowd and do what he needed to do. From this one, in the world of the story, comes an invitation to us. Can we too learn to have faith in life, in the gift of life, no matter how it tastes in this moment? Can we learn not to measure our glass as half full or half empty, but to celebrate the glass and receive it with gratitude? Can we give our attention to what's right here, what's just as plain as the nose on our face? This is a day to say thank you to our musicians for the amazing contribution of time and talent that they share with us so often, and thank you. And to say thank you to each of you. Spiritual communities are often very focused on the missing, of who's not here. We celebrate your presence, that you are here, that we create this community together and the things that we are able to do with one another, thanks to the time you give, the talent you give, the wisdom you share, your willingness to share your exploration and your spiritual journeys with one another, and for the ways that you support this community with your financial support. I'll put up a slide to remind us of ways that we can give, and I'm going to invite Randy on behalf of the outreach team to come and share a little bit about the work of that team in an area that has been very important to Southminster Steinhauer United Church over the years.
As Nancy had indicated, my name's Randy Langley. I'm with the Outreach Committee, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the role that outreach plays in our community. Outreach has the formal purpose of developing awareness and action that responds to social justice issues in the local, national, and world community. This congregation has, since really before this church was constructed, demonstrated a commitment to this purpose and these issues in very tangible ways, including the provision of housing for disadvantaged groups. As you can see, I've bumped up the presentation. It's now multimedia. And I have, however, taken out the dance component. Now, on the slide here, you'll see some of the activities that are carried on by people within the congregation, and there's, as you will be aware, a lot more that the folks here do. We're currently spending about $60,000 a year on a variety of projects, and we're working through how best to remain flexible and responsive to active initiatives raised by members of the congregation. As you can see, the scope of activities is wide, and we'd be pleased to assist you in any ideas you may have for congregational involvement that makes our community better. To explore those ideas that you may have, just let me or the office know your thoughts. One project that we have that's generated significant interest is working with the Right at Home Society and Peter Amarangan of Habitat Studios to explore the possibility of establishing social housing on our church site just to the east of the building. The current concept, which is still at a very rough stage, contemplates about 20 to 24 units for seniors and larger families. The finished product would be expected to be net zero, that is powered by solar energy and heated by geothermal or air heat transfer. This net zero concept would be also applied in current thinking to the church as well. So as that is implemented on the social housing, it would also be implemented here. And this is something that our Earth Charter Committee has been working on for a number of years. It's hoped that there will be a mature proposal from these folks at Right at Home Society, probably in the coming months, and at that time it'll be presented to the board and ultimately to the congregation for their thoughts and approval. Thank you very much.
As meaning-making creatures, we're infused with symbolic consciousness. We're creatures of ritual, in other words. In our particular tradition, in various ways and called by many different names, many communities around the world will celebrate a ceremonial meal on this Sunday.
And we come to this table to frame a moment of gratitude for the wisdom and the stories that shape us, for the songs that carry our hopes and our fears.
So we pause at this table to hold a simple piece of bread, framing a moment of gratitude for the gifts of a good earth and the work of many to plant and grow and grind and bake to feed our hunger. We share bread as commitment to live gratefully and to live generously.
And we pause at this table also to share a cup, framing a moment of gratitude for the gifts of community, for the communities that are containers for our tears and our fears, for our hopes and our joys. And as we share this cup, we share it as a commitment to live generously and gratefully.
So we invite you to honor this table time in whatever way might be most meaningful to you. Everyone is welcome at the table to receive a simple piece of bread, to dip it in a cup, and share in celebration of our shared journey. And everyone is welcome to be in this time of reflection in whatever way they choose. There's bread for the gladness we all taste in moments, and a cup to hold the sadness we each carry. Come and share gratefully in the grace of life.
We go in deep gratitude, knowing we have enough, we are enough, we are good enough, we are altogether sufficient. We go in the grace and goodness of life, trusting the light that goes before us, beyond us, the light that is within us, the light that is beside us. We go in peace and hope, celebrating that we go into all that is sacred.